Coletti, and then Albright.
Just so that we can weigh in on the Finance Committee before the other committee votes, I obviously feel very strongly that we have to act as quickly as possible so that this, it allows people the opportunity to get their campaigns going. But I am I've always been very, very concerned and have told the mayor, in fact, I was speaking to him yesterday about it, that this all or nothing proposal, I think, creates a real opportunity for us to possibly not get it. And I'm intrigued with my new colleague from Ward 5 and Amy's work on this compromise way of doing it. As much as if I had my druthers, I think that, and I know everybody's concerned about this, but, obviously the schools are always going to get their attention, and the police and the fire. But once again, I know, remember what I talked about at budget time last year when I said that we pulled off a magic trick last year. We put together a $15.2 million budget, and we had the smallest increase in taxes that the taxpayers had seen in 20 years. And the reason we did it was because of our creativity. In other words, okay, he's talking about $1 million being cut on police and fire. There's always $1 million that we can wring out of the budget if we use our resources. And if you don't do it that way, and I've been saying to David all along, we've been trying to establish a mechanism to get from $6 million, whether we use the health insurance money, to $12 million. If we get to 11 or 12 million, that makes the necessity for the big number that much smaller. Now, does that solve the problem in the long run? No. But we've never been a city that's always done anything. We've always, that tends to take care of the problem long term. Every year, just like the way we all live our lives, every year is a new challenge. And you try to make it and always end it on New Year's Eve feeling that it was a good year. And you either made a little money or had a nice vacation. But the point is, the fear that I have is if we're not going to try and restore some of the municipal cuts and then go out and push for the school override, then we're going to be forced to put it on in a form of an a la carte menu or go with Brindell and Sangiulo's proposal. Because if you do a portion of the money that we spend on a debt exclusion, then you have the flexibility and the public knows that it's only for a predetermined amount of time. So I would either, turn around and say, if the mayor continues to push us to go the whole distance, then he ultimately accepts the responsibility if the voters reject him. But if we're able to take here and deal with the municipal problem and then turn around and do some debt service borrowing, which frees up a little bit of additional money. It's interesting how we can find money for synthetic turf, and we can find money to do other things. And yet when it comes to retaining police and fire, it's obviously, something that everyone says we can't. So the most important thing is that I would like to shape a number where we go out and because the schools are really the diamond of the city. So I don't know how we get there. I still believe that before this board votes on the total 23.9 number, which I think is a 50-50 shot at best, that we need to spend a little time reviewing Bill and Amy's item and then deciding whether we need to either press the mayor's office to close the gap like he did last year. He did a great job. And I think that they can rise to the occasion again, and I think we can help them. And if not, then we have to collectively decide whether we should do an a la carte. Police and fire will always do well also, and it's a much smaller number. But most importantly, we've got to get our resources behind the school number so that they can continue to do their work. That's my message. Now, how we can get that all accomplished and get this voted in a time when we can get the forces together, to get the community involved and engaged, we can't just keep delaying. It's one of the reasons why I came here tonight, was to try and make sure that everyone understood this is really serious business. But I assure you of one thing, the Finance Committee is going to take a deeper role this year of reviewing the entire budget. We're not going to rubber stamp it like we've done all those other years. And I propose to make some serious cuts and look at places that if I see something that I don't think should continue, especially these vacancies, and I've been chasing down the various departments trying to find out why they're operating with so few people, we're going to do that. We're going to make cuts. and then we'll reallocate the money. And that's our prerogative. We can do that. So that's the last resort. But the thing that frustrates me the most is we're not going to have an answer until May. And that's a hell of a way to run the city. So I guess my challenge to us is to take the time. This is more important, believe it or not, than Newton North, because this is our lifeblood. So, you know, Mr. President, I think that you have to be more proactive in trying to get us, you know, to meet on this again, whether we do it jointly again. But I think that the Brandel-Sinjolo item deserves discussion. And then I think we have to once again send the mayor back and say, look, we think you got to wring out some more money. I'm really concerned about the overlay. I'm really concerned about the fact that you know, I pulled a fast one on them a few months ago when we set the tax rate by setting the money aside for the drainage plan, because I'm sick and tired of hearing that every dollar that comes back from the state's got to go into this debt reserve for the high school. So what? We have $15 million in there and the price has gone up by $45 million. That's no deal. That's nothing to be proud of. We should be using that money to run the city and going to the state to get the 30-year bond, and that takes care of the school, and it also takes care of freeing up some money from capital stabilization, from overlay reserves. You know, let's cut down a little bit on what we're setting aside for the next overlay reserve. Go back and take a little more money from free cash. We can go a long way towards balancing this budget. So that's my message. But to go if we vote tonight or any other night within the next couple of weeks to do this $23.9 million override, we stand to be responsible for a 50-50 shot. And I don't think the odds are good enough. So that's my message, and I hope my committee will support me in a hold. But once again, I'd like to move very quickly to get these other items on the table. And if the mayor's office won't cooperate with us, then we're going to have to really get the mayor to understand that we're not going to budge. And you know, once again, it's like Teddy Mann used to say, if you got 13 votes, you got the power. And it's up to this board to make sure that we look after the interests of the citizens and not let the mayor always have it his way. Because this last year, and actually the last couple of years, we have been like lambs, you know, led down a path where, you know, things were changed and lots of things happened, and we just aren't a player. And the citizens want us to be a player. So, and I came back. I mean, you know, could have been a very different outcome for me, but I had a choice of going to heaven maybe or staying here and fighting, and I decided that I wanted to come back and deal with the override. So let's get to work. Let's have the meetings. And to be honest with you, nobody up in heaven was talking about either the high school or the override, which made it very boring. So
it's boring up there.
So let's get on with it. Let's force the mayor to make this year the same as last year. He can do it. It's just that he's so gun-shy right now. And what he's really trying to do is buy time. He's trying to buy enough time to get enough revenue in order that he doesn't have to go back to the taxpayers until the next election. And to be honest with you, if the override fails, his chances of getting elected, you know, are going to be horrible. And probably nobody else is going to want to run the city either. So let's do it right. That's the message.